Last week, we celebrated Earth Day, the annual event to support environmental protection. It served as a good reminder of how humanity's impact on the planet is causing climate change and environmental degradation. As Christians, we have the unique privilege of knowing the one who created it all, and with that comes a sacred responsibility. So what's the biblical perspective on the environment? For Faith Strong Today, I'm Anita Wingley. It seems like every month there's a new documentary about oceans being poisoned with plastic, soil stripped of its nutrients, or an oil spill endangering wildlife. But what does God have to say about our role as human beings on planet Earth? In mainstream society, Christians aren't viewed as the ones standing up for conservation, a healthy planet, or recycling, but maybe we should be. Let's look at what's revealed in the Bible. In Genesis 1, we see that the first task given to humanity is to bear God's image. In Genesis chapter 2, verse 15, it says, "The Lord took the man and put him in the Garden of Eden to work it and take care of it." For Christians, we know that God created the world and it belongs to Him, not us. And it was good. This makes us stewards or trustees of God's creation, and we're not supposed to neglect it or abuse it. The psalmist wrote, "The earth is the Lord's and everything in it, the world and all who live in it." But what about Jesus? What does He say about our purpose as human beings? Jesus taught that the most important commands are to love God with our whole heart, mind, soul, and strength, and to love others as ourselves. Part of loving God includes taking care of His creation, including nature, wildlife, and other humans. It's not that we're worshiping creation, but when you love someone, you take care of what they care about. Like if someone gave you a beautiful house to live in, you wouldn't trash it. You would cherish the gift and keep it beautiful. Plus, caring for a creation is a way that we love others. Climate change affects everyone, making bad problems worse, like refugee crises, hunger, poverty, and pollution. So what are some things that we can do to grow in our roles as stewards of God's good creation? First, spend more time in God's creation. When we're living at breakneck speed and glued to our screens, it's easy to forget that God built a natural order into life on Earth. There are periods of work, rest, growth, and decay in nature. Appreciating God's handiwork in creation helps us to understand and respect God's wisdom. Next, pray and ask for God's guidance on how to act. Climate change can be an overwhelming issue, and God doesn't expect us to do everything, but He will tug at your heart and inspire you to act. You could organize a community cleanup, learn about different ways to reuse what you have, and be mindful of buying new things that you don't need. And in your work life, you could talk to your employer about ways that your company could be more sustainable. We also need to be talking about creation care in church, so bring the topic up with your pastor. Perhaps you could start a Bible study, new recycling practices, or a community garden at the church. And finally, keep learning. Being a good steward of God's creation is not a one-time deal. It's a lifelong journey of loving God and loving what He loves. Thankfully, there are a growing number of resources on this, including books, Bible studies, and Christian environmental stewardship organizations that you can get involved with. From here, we want to pass the conversation over to you. Do you hear from God or connect with God when you're in nature? Are there certain creation care issues that God has placed on your heart, like animals, the oceans, deforestation, or sustainability? Share your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear. And for more conversations on Christianity and culture, stay tuned to Faith Strong Today.